So here's what you're going to do. You're going to put your pencils and pens down, and you're just going to watch these for a minute. You're not going to have to write anything down. I'm going to tell you a story, and I am not going to let Owen get into the details because I am faking a lot of this, because Owen's going to be like, you can't have a partial person. And I'm going to be like, well, you're right, because no one wants to carry a human leg around, because that would be weird, right? I mean, you could, but it would be weird, right? So imagining that we don't have partial people. So imagine that I have a friend who's a mildly good singer, and I want to have a little dinner party, and I ask her, my friend, if she'll come and sing at my house. And my friend Tay, Taylor Swift, she says, sure, Dana, I'll come over. And I'm like, well, you're not that good, but what the hell? Come over and sing for my friends. And she'll like, but I'm not very rich. I've been doing this world tour thing, but I'm not making literally billions of dollars. So I'm going to need you to pay me a little bit. And I'm like, oh, you're such a greedy bitch. But okay, I will pay you some money, Taylor Swift. So here's what she says. I go, well, what do you need to come sing at my house? She says, I need $10 a person. But if you actually have more than 10 people, if you have more than 10 friends, which I don't think you do because she's judgy like that, I'll just charge you a flat rate of $110, and I'll just charge her a flat rate. And I'm like, well, how many people can I bring? She goes, like 25. That's all I want to come. I'm like, okay, I can do that. That seems fair, right? And so mathematically, it would look something like this, right? It would look like this. That if I have Taylor come, and I invite you guys, and none of you show up, and it's just her and I, and she's just singing for me, and it's awkward as hell. I don't have to pay her anything, right? But for every person that comes, I'm gonna give that greedy girl $10, right? So one person, two people, and it's gonna look something like this, right? Till we get to about 10 people, right? Once we get to 10 people, it's like, fine, Taylor, whatever. That's not people, that's money. So once we get there, we got 10 people happening, all the way to 10 people, right? So that's what happens. But once we get there, if anyone else comes, say they come and they bring a leg, right? They bring anyone more than 10, maybe someone who's pregnant, like that's 10 and a half. I don't know what your personal situations are. Don't be pregnant, it's bad in high school, right? But I don't judge. So if any of you come, I get a 10 and a half person or anything. Once I get there, I'm gonna have to pay that greedy Taylor $110, and that's for anything over 10 people, right? Over 10 people, till we get to 25, and then she doesn't want any more people to come, and that's all I can fit in my house, right? Because here's what, in real life, things aren't names. They really aren't. Like, I bought candy last night to do our syllabuses. I'm buying it retail, right? It's expensive. It's like I think it was like $25 a bag because it's Halloween and they're charging me a lot. But if I go to like a wholesaler, like a candy wholesaler, if I buy more than 10 bags, like I get a total discount, right? That's how life works. It's not a clean graph. It's sometimes messy graphs. And these have a special name. You guys, some of you learned this last year. These are called, and I'm so embarrassed on your homework. I know it's I before E, but on your homework, I put it the wrong way. These have a name, and these are called, look, I did it wrong, piecewise functions. And what piecewise functions are is this. They are one big function made up of smaller functions, right? Because here's what's happening, right? Taylor's here for 10 people or less, and I'm giving you paper, you don't even have to get it. And here for anything over 10, right? And maybe Taylor says, look, if you actually have more than 25 friends, which I don't think you do, you just got to give me $500. I'm like, God, you're so greedy. So once I get to 25, it might jump way the heck up to $500 all the way to everyone I can shove in my house. I could keep on adding to this function, right? She might even say, well, what if ghosts come, right? Negative people. So ghosts could come. She might try for ghosts, right? So we can keep adding to our big function little pieces of function. It's little pieces of function. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to be taking big functions, and then they're made up of little pieces of function. But here's what's crazy. They look scary. They look crazy scary. this looks like crazy scary math. If you just look at that, especially for my algebra 2 kids, it's like, that's crazy. I don't even know what you're asking me to do here. So here's what I did. I made notes for you. First thing we're going to do is we're going to break this down, what's happening. And then we're going to try today to graph these ourselves. On Monday, we solve them. And on Tuesday, we do everything together, right? So we break it down. So here you go. Here are your notes. And here's why I spelled, look, I spelled piecewise wrong in the first time. And then I said a piece of cake. And I spelled that right. So I don't know why. And I'm embarrassed. So I hate when I spell things wrong. Because I judge people when they misspell things. I shouldn't.
Look at you.
Oh, I am very thankful. I date you. I met you down. You for nice. Yes, I did. You was very impressive. Okay, so here's what. In front of Mariel and Michael, there is a pile of pencils. Because tonight, you must do this in pencil with an eraser. You can't do it in pen, because we actually draw stuff and then erase stuff. So if you need a pencil with an eraser, they are back in that back desk. Just do me a favor, return them to me, because I need them for the rest of this little unit, right? So every time I need it. So if you don't have a pencil tonight with an eraser, grab one from over there. Just do me a favor and give it back to me at the end. My daughter-in-law has come in. Oh my God. And did you notice how buff that 55 was? Like what was going on there, man? Because pirates died of scurvy. Like that, what scurvy is? It's a disease you get when you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. So pirates were not, and their teeth fall out. Like it's terrible. It's a terrible disease. Like look how crazy buff this dude is. Like he didn't look like that in real life. Look at his little calves, man. He's got the whole he's got scurvy. He doesn't look like that. Okay. So here we go. You ready? So this is a function, and here's how I know, right? Nothing really overlaps here, right? It's predictable, right? I got nothing overlapping. My domain on this one, it goes all the way to infinity this way, all the way to infinity this way, and it's either at -2 or +3. So that's that. We're not going to deal with that tonight. But here's what. We're looking at this craziness. And this craziness gives us a lot of information. So here's the first thing I want you to all note as we're doing this. The first thing I want you to notice is that there are two things happening. One right here and one right here. Sometimes, I'm going to just jump ahead. We're going to jump back in a minute. You could even have three things happening. 1, 2, 3. You could, in theory, have 8 things happening, right? Like, oh, if Taylor has 10 people, she wants this much, or 20 people this much, and 30 people this much, because she's so greedy, right? So that's the first thing I want you to notice. When we look at piecewise, the reason it's written in this weird, crazy way is because it's telling you we're going to have 2 baby functions shoved in our big function, right? The next thing I want you to notice is that scares the hell out of me because it's got a bunch of extra letters that freak me out. So I want to remind everyone right here, that's just y. That's just y. So let's break down what's actually happening. I have y equals 3. I'm going to write that over here. Y equals 3. That's one of the things that is happening. And the second thing that is happening is I have y equals -2. Y equals -2. So if I was going to just do this problem, if I said to you, hey, I've got 2 functions, we're cramming them into one, here's what you do. You'd be like, la, 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 I'm going to graph y equals 3. And you'd sing that little weird song because that's what you would do because you're weird and you have no friends. So you'd come in and you'd go y equals 3. And you'd go like this. And you put that there because you make your little heart right there. And you do it and you're good. And then you'd be like, oh, she also told me y equals -2. And again, you'd sing your little song, la, 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 put your little heart there, and you'd go like this. But then you'd think, Miss T told me it's not a function if they overlap. So that's a problem. We can't have two things overlap. So here's what happens. There is a boundary somewhere on this problem that says, I want part of this one and not the other part, and I want part of the other one. And how do you know where that boundary is? And I'm going to show you. It is, that boundary is right here. Does that make sense? -4 is saying something is happening there. Something weird is happening there. So what I'm going to do when I start doing these myself, I'm going to tell myself, oh, I've got a weird boundary that's happening here. And here's what it's telling you. It's telling you this. It's saying for the 3 guy, just for the 3 guy, let's see if I can do it, just for this guy, I want everything that's smaller than -4. Now, here's what's cool. Here's a really nice hint about this. John, you want to tell me what that nice hint is? I know you're totally watching me right now. Or you just want to keep it out? Okay. So here's what. Do you see how the arrow is pointing this way? I only want the part of the graph that it's pointing to. Does that make sense? I want x to be everything less than -4. I want this stuff, and you know what I'm going to do with my eraser? I am going to erase all the stuff that I don't want. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to go to this dude over here, and it says, oh, I want all the stuff that's bigger than -4. See where the arrow is pointing to? It's pointing this way. I want all of this stuff, which means I don't want this stuff. That's my overlap. So I get rid of it. Does that make sense so far, what we're doing? Now, there's one last thing we got to remember with piecewise functions, and here's my weird Mrs. Tarantino way of explaining it. Do you see where they overlap at -4? They both have a -4 in it. Here's what I want you to think about. If you go to college or not, you decide you meet someone in a few years from now, and you decide to get together and live together. You're not getting married, you're just living together. And you're going to do what many people who live with a partner do. You buy a pet, right? You buy a pet. And you get your dog, you guys are sharing your dog. But things don't work out and you split up and one of you says, I'm out of here, I'm moving to New York City. Yeah, with kids, you share the kids. But you know what? When you buy a pet with a boyfriend or girlfriend, you don't share the pet. One of you gets the dog and one of you does not get the dog. That's real life. See, don't say, yeah, I never taught you anything, right? So here's what. One of these two lines is going to get the -4 and one of them is not. Your job is to decide who gets the dog. Can anyone guess which one of these gets the -4? Is it the 3 guy or the -2 guy? Anyone bring up a guess? Yeah. It's the -2 guy because it's less than or equal to, right? Does that make sense? That's what determines it. So guess what you're going to do on the -2 guy? Solid dot. He gets the dog. This guy, open dot, because his heart is broken. It's empty. His heart is empty, right? So that's the last step on graphing these, is who gets the dog. Does this make sense? Piecewise. Not bad, huh? Okay. I swear to God, I know Mrs. Wansock talked about, your heart breaking over a dog. I know that happened. So here we go. We're not doing it yet. We're just getting ready. What's our domain on this one? Our domain is everything, right? Side to side. That's going to be our domain, our real numbers. You're not going to do this tonight. Our range, we're going to start right here, down at -1, and we're going to go all the way to infinity. But again, I'm just showing you this. We're not doing that tonight. But here's what. We got 2 situations happening. For me, this is too scary. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite the 2 situations. I'm going to say y equals -2x plus 3. I'm also going to tell you I'm a baby. I'm going to make this as simple as I can. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Right? I'm going to literally make this so easy to graph. And then I know my second situation is y equals x minus 2. But again, I'm a baby. So I'm going to make this super easy to graph, right? So here I go. What I would do is I would say this. I would say, first thing is, I'm going to have a boundary. I've got that weird barrier thing happening right here at 1. I know some weird stuff's going to happen. I'm not going to deal with it right now, but at some point I will need to. So I'm going to start by graphing the first dude. And here's what I'm going to do when I graph him. I am going to say I'm going to start at 3. I'm going to go up 2, over 1 in the negative direction, up 2, over 1 in the negative. I'm also going to do a few down ones. I'm going to keep on going, keep on going. I'm going to draw the whole thing in, right? That's how I do it. But then I'm going to say to myself, wait a second. It only wants the part of the graph that goes this way from my boundary. Are you guys cool with that? So what I would do now is I would go back and erase the stuff I don't need. Does that make sense how I do that, right? I literally do that. If I'm going to come and help you on ones, I draw the whole thing in, put my boundary in, erase what I don't need. So on this one, I'm going to start at -2. I'm going to make it blue. I am going to go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. I'm going to draw in the entire thing. That's how I do it. And then I think, wait. I don't need the entire thing. I only need what's on this side of the boundary. So I go to the boundary and I erase what I don't need. Does that make sense? So there I go. And now I think my last thing, who gets the dog? This dude gets the dog. This guy has an empty heart. Easy? Can we do it? You guys ready to try? Okay, here we go. One for you to try. So Audrey's going to try this one. Audrey, try this one because this is new. Try this one. Okay? We're ready. We're good. I know. I'm going to do Mosen next. I didn't even see him. Thanks for Mosen. Jackson. Smack Mosen. Do this problem. You were full on out. Go. Let's do it. Let's try. Here's what. I'm going to start you this way. Really, Mosen? Try this. Y equals 2 and y equals 3, right? It's just straight lines. Nothing tricky on this one. Nice flat lines, right? Everyone's doing this. If you are remembering this from Algebra 2 trig, then do the last one if you want. Make sure you can do a 3 guy. And if you were blowing through this like it's super easy, I'm going to say one more time, you should have picked AP Cal or AP Pre-Calc, because if you were planning to go calculus next year, this might not be in your best interest. So say 4, say it again. Might want to make better choices. It's still not too late, but in another week, it will be too late. They will have passed us up. And you do you, but you will. There are consequences for the choices you're making. Just, I don't want you to think, oh, I don't know, fine. Yes, nice. Here I go. I'm going to draw my barrier, -4, boom. No, we're not doing domain range tonight. Thank you. Good question. So I am going to do 2, and it's everything this way. So I'm going to go to 2. And it's everything this way, but I don't want this stuff. And I'm even going to do my barrier right away because I know that. I'm going to go to 3, and it is everything this way, and it's going to look like this. How'd you do? Are you okay? Especially my Algebra 2 friends that are coming from totally from me. So like, we got this? Yeah? Right on. Okay, want to step up your game a little bit? There you go. A little bit trickier. Try this next one. Yeah. Okay, so here's what we got. 3 things happening. So you write boom, and this part is going to just come from here. So what you're going to do is graph that line. So let's do this. If you write that as y equals 1 over 1 x minus 2. Is that cool? So let's start at -2. Go up 1 over 1, keep going. Draw that in softly for me, right? But I only want the piece that goes from here over. Does that make sense? Yes, nice. So, will you erase that for me? Shut up, don't mom. That's what you're doing. So look what I got. I got this. I got this. I got this. All right. If you're killing it, you want to go on to number 4, 5, and 6. You totally can. I'm going to go ahead. Yes, nice. Thanks, Martin. So I'm going to put my little barrier in. It helps me. So here I go. I'm going to say -5. I want everything this way. So I'm going to go right here. And it's a nice hard dot this way. And on this guy, I want everything going this way. Now be careful on this one. We're going to start at -1 and go up to over 1. But remember, I don't want it to start here. It's got to go all the way. They've got to have that one place where they kind of overlap. So be careful that you include it. A lot of kids just start it there. But no, you actually have that one place where they kind of overlap each other, right? Yeah? How does yours look? Does it look like mine? Did you do okay? Yeah? Okay. We got time to do one more. If you're getting this, try this one. Here's what you're going to have. You're going to have 2 barriers. You're going to have a barrier right here and a barrier right here, right? So if you're not quite getting it, you're going a little bit slower, taking a little more time because it's new to you, try this one. Try either one. And I'm going to pass out, while you're doing that, I'm going to start checking your syllabus, if you have the syllabus, and I will give you candy. I did need to. What?
I was not.
Then go get a syllabus. It's in the piece of one. Come on, you're not far. Look at this. You want that?
I want to. I told you to make a recording.
Yeah.
Choose.
No, you don't get to choose.
I'm going to stop the recording.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
What about Craig?
The blue one.
This one?
Yeah. This